The Network of Agricultural Communicators, NAC the Gambia, and the Danish Food and Agricultural Journalists, DFAJ, recently embarked on two important agricultural events. A 4-day tour of farmer communities and community radio stations across the country, and a 3-day seminar with agricultural communicators and stakeholders in agriculture. The tour and seminar both seek to find answers to the theme, how can improved agricultural journalism help fight poverty and food insecurity in the Gambia? The seminar discussed the possibilities on how to use local radio stations and newspapers to improve farmers' access to relevant information through improved agricultural journalism, and how to overcome the challenges the journalists faced in their attempt to produce and present agricultural stories that will be beneficial to the farmers. In his welcoming remarks, Amadou Jallo, the president of the Network of Agricultural Communicators, implored on participants to participate effectively in the seminar. Hence, the outcome of the seminar will be important not only to the farmers but to the entire Gambia at large.
We can no more meet the food demands of our population by acting alone. We, as agricultural communicators, have a role to play, and this is the sole reason for setting up this noble network. We hope the vigorous training and discussions of such magnitude, our members can be used as agents of change. Change that can bring a huge and healthy harvest, and change in the mindset towards farming. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, NAC may not possess the needed agricultural expertise today, but with our individual commitment and collective actions, we envisage a day when we will not require external professions to help our farmers on what kind of fertilizers to apply on their crops, or what means to apply and get the best yield out of their farms. At this point, Mr. Chairman, let me emphasize that we must collectively have the vision that our gathering here for these 3 days is not just to come and receive information and that's it. As agricultural communicators, we must continue to advocate for best practices in agriculture at our media outlets, institutions and communities, and this we want to do with all stakeholders, government included, knowing that the President has urged Gambians to start thinking of growing what we eat and eating what we grow. When we disperse from this gathering at the end, we want to see that all the participants, with the backup from their institutions, introduce agricultural programs that will be useful to farmers. The rest assured that NAC executive will conduct a routine follow-up exercises to see that what you have learned from this seminar is impacting a change in our individual lives and the lives of our farmer communities.
Finn Asnis, who spoke on behalf of the Danish Food and Agricultural Journalists, recalled the time when their own association was set up and the hurdles they have gone through. He urged the members of NAC to be committed to the network, citing that with commitment, everything is possible.
Danish and the Gambian culture are different. However, I believe it is important to have an opportunity to exchange thoughts and ideas. It is in the dialogue between different attitudes and perceptions that new ideas and methods emerge, thus creating progress for all. The purpose of this conference is, as mentioned, to improve and develop agriculture in the Gambia through good and target agricultural journalism. In Denmark, education and information has been the key to the Danish agriculture system. But we also spent many years on developing it. DFAJ is an organization that has existed for more than 100 years. Cooperation between agricultural journalists and communicators have secured training, knowledge sharing, and thus more relevant and target information. Another factor that contributes to the development of Danish agriculture is the cooperation between farmers. Not only cooperation on knowledge and transfer, but on building large cooperative enterprises such as slaughterhouses, dairies, commercial companies supplying commodities to the farmers and other, taking care of global export and research institutions. A work that Danish farmers began 150 years ago. I hope that this conference will give us all inspiration to new ideas and be a mutual benefit, the beginning of an ongoing cooperation between the NAC and DFAJ. I wish you all a good conference.
Declaring the seminar open, Madi Cisse, a senior communications officer working with Action Aid the Gambia and a former president of the Gambia Press Union, applauded NAC and DFAJ for their foresight and then called on all players in agriculture to join the network in their fight to end poverty and food insecurity in the Gambia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My colleagues on the floor, Danish friends, was the president of the Farmers Network of Communicators and a colleague from Ghana. Like you said, I'm not speaking on behalf of the ministry, but on behalf of actually International Gambia. But once a journalist, we are always a journalist, and in fact that is why I work at Action Aid. I work at Action Aid as a journalist. I'm responsible communications manager there. So that's why the prompt invitation to make a short remark, I did not hesitate because it is a familiar trend. I want to thank the Danes first and foremost for their long collaboration with the Gambia Press Union. I can fully remember during my presidency 29 years ago, the relationship between the Danes and the Gambia Press Union was during my period. And I can see it is going from strength to strength. So that's a worthwhile venture. And I also want to thank the network for coming up with this laudable initiative by the Gambia Press Union, which is the parent body. I think it is beautiful for us to be into diverse sectors, because before, what prevailed in this country is we are all just general reporters. We don't specialize. And lack of specialization in journalism have shortcomings because you would not be fully informed in the area you are reporting. So I think it's beautiful now we have a lot of them, agriculture now on board, we had health journalists, sport journalists, environment, communication, and various other sectors. It's a very laudable initiative, and I have no doubt that the Gambia Press Union will continue to encourage you to do your
in the Gambia. Also speaking at the opening ceremony was a representative of the Gambia Press Union, Sana Kamara. Sana spoke at length on the union's willingness to support the network. Meanwhile, Benjamin Fearful, a representative of Farm Radio, also echoed similar sentiments. The first presenter of the seminar was Mr. Yankuba Dabo, coordinator of the National Farmers Platform, a trade union for farmers in the Gambia. His topic covered the challenges facing the farmers in the country. Dabo spent half an hour pointing out the myriad of issues impeding on the development of farming in the Gambia, touching on land tenure system, the existing customary systems of allocating land that is biased against women, who form majority of the agricultural labor force. He also pointed out at the lack of storage facilities and markets and the drop in rainfall as a major problem which hinders agriculture in the Gambia.
Land tenure system continues to marginalize women in favor of men farmers because land in the Gambia is also highly fragmented. The production of capacity of farmers, especially women farmers, are greatly limited. And in all communities, the communities we come from, you can realize that fertilizer, you wait until November, that is not useful to the farmer. Lack of seed preservation techniques. They have their seeds, but how do they preserve the seeds? Sometimes you have your good quality seed, or maybe mixed up with other seeds because we don't have the preservation techniques. Pest and disease problem. Presently, you can realize that the produce are also affected because of the pest and disease attack at the farm. And then there is no other herbicide that they can use in their farms to at least eradicate those things in the farm. Insufficiency or even uneven distribution of rainfall, which leads to drought in some areas, and drought which is major natural hazard in the Gambia today, with about 30% drop in annual rainfall. And in the Gambia, farmers solely depend on rainfall, and then if there is uneven distribution of rainfall, we cannot get what we want in the farming. Lack of credit facilities for farmers. Credit available is mostly from the commercial banks, charging very high interest rates. Accessing these loans is also a problem as farmers lack the collateral required as a guarantee for the loans. So this is something that they are also facing presently, and I believe this gathering will come out with these issues that can remedy those situations. Access to farm implements is a major problem for farmers. To date, farming is done using traditional methods, which results in low output. And then we are talking about grow what you eat and eat what you grow. So to come to that, we also need to get materials that is going to help us to engage in ourselves into commercialized farming instead of subsistence farming. Majority of the farmers lack the modern technique of farming, the new farming technology, because if you go to the wider world, you realize that farmers are the richest. But in the Gambia, those who are engaged in farming, we term them as the poorest
in the country. Participants were then divided into groups for some group discussions before they returned for the next presentation, which was led by Dr. Sidat Yafa, a lecturer at the University of the Gambia and a prominent agricultural expert. His paper was centered on the challenges facing the media in effective reporting on agriculture. Dr. Yafa's topic exposed participants to the shortcomings of agricultural journalists. He stated that stories featured in the existing columns of agriculture in the newspaper, there were fewer narratives. These stories, he added, also lacked the depth of coverage and clarity. This, he said, is blamed on the lack of understanding of the science of agriculture on the part of the agricultural journalists. Limited knowledge on agricultural landscape on the part of agricultural journalists, non-conducive political environment, poor communication skills in terms of both written and unspoken English, and lack of adequate financial motivation. To each of the challenges Mr. Yafa identified above, he provided possible solutions. Such solutions, he said, are training. He pointed out that to effectively report on agriculture, journalists should build their capacity on the science by enrolling in either long-term or short-term courses and be current on agricultural-related issues.
We'll be talking about some of these things while they have very little knowledge on what they mean. So that's why I started my discussion with those three keywords. The first one is reporting. According to Collins Dictionary definition of reporting, it says detailing account of an event, situation, etc., usually based on observation or inquiry. If you're reporting, you try to detail a statement or detail an analysis based on observation or inquiry. For example, you come to me, you want to know about me, who Dr. Yafa is, you inquire from me, or you observe my behavior. Then, based on your observation and inquiry, you should be able to write good information. You should be able to report something that is effective. Now, the next word is effective. What does it mean? It says capable of producing a result. Any activity that you do that will end in achieving a result is considered effective. For example, right now I'm possible solution. Go freelancing. If you work for Daily News, under the law you are not their employee. So they will pay you. Then you come to SNS Consulting, you write for our website, newspaper or our website information site. They will pay you. You go to Observer newspaper. At least if you have 3 newspapers that you can write for in a month, assuming that each of them pays you, let's say $1,000 a month. How much is that? $3,000, right? That's twice, 100% more than what you used to earn from Daily Observer, from Daily News. So that is the trick. because I have other opportunities otherwhere. Because I want to write for other newspapers so that I can increase my income. That's the way you're gonna make money.
Presenting a paper on the challenges facing journalists in terms of gathering information, the Secretary General of NAC, the Network of Agricultural Communicators, Sang Mendy, centered his discussion on the political, technical, resource constraints being the reasons why journalists find it hard to gather agricultural news. He also provided possible solutions to those difficulties or challenges.
Yesterday, this was highlighted that journalism knowledge is also another problem. Most journalists have not had a journalism education. You don't need to have a journalism education to be a good journalist, but it also guides you to become better. In your first presentation, he noticed that, or in your own presentations, you noticed that our qualification stops at senior secondary school. Most of the people working in the media, and you recommend that there is a need for capacity building, and there was a lot of debate here about who builds whose capacity. Is it me, the journalist, me, the individual, who should build my own capacity, or it is my media house that should build my capacity?
Mr. Mahmoud C., Program Manager, Gambia Competitive Project, took the participants through the challenges of agricultural business in the country. With more than 40 years of work experience in the agricultural sector, C pointed out a whole set of things responsible. On the other hand, Mr. Damfa, the coordinator of Agricultural Extension and Communication Services, spoke on the channels media personnel can take to gather information. He lamented that the agricultural sector is underreported, both in terms of quantity and quality. Concerning the type of help the community radio stations need to enable them effectively and efficiently produce a good program for the farmers in the Gambia, Mr. Yusufa Bojang, the national coordinator of the network of community radio stations, pointed out a lot of challenges as well as offer some solutions to these challenges. Benjamin Fearful, a representative of Farm Radio, on his part, led a presentation on how his organization forges partnership with media outlets across the world. The three-day workshop wrapped up with a speech by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, Mr.
Good afternoon. The Deputy Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, President of the Network of Agricultural Communicators. Mr. Mark Cisse, representing the Gambia Press Union, the representative of the Danish Food and Agricultural journalists, participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is my humble pleasure and honor to give the closing remarks at this very important workshop for agricultural journalists, organized by the Network of Agricultural Communicators in the Gambia, in partnership with the Danish Food and Agricultural Journalists. It is my hope that you have found the workshop to be worthy of your time, and that it has prepared you for the challenges of accurate and timely reporting of agricultural matters, as we strive to achieve food and nutrition security. Your participation in this workshop at this time is very crucial, as we rely on the media to know what the players in the agricultural sector are doing to provide affordable, wholesome food to the citizens. Therefore, we depend on you for credible information right from the source. This is clearly reflected in the theme of the workshop. How can improved agricultural journalism help fight poverty and food insecurity in the Gambia? This workshop has been organized to help facilitate your access to that information and enable you to help to report truthfully and on time. Ladies and gentlemen, the media plays a key role in reporting on and analyzing the state and advancements in the agricultural sector. We all know that an enlightened citizenry is a key ingredient in our development process. Apart from treating the agricultural sector as a top priority, the government of the Gambia, under the able leadership of His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J. Jammeh, clearly values and encourages a free and independent media. That is why the Gambia administration has been consistently engaged in constructive media development in the Gambia. I encourage you all to maintain a healthy relationship with the Department of Agriculture's Communication, Extension, and Education Services. They have a wealth of experience, information, and invaluable archive material that is relevant to your field of journalism. The Ministry of Agriculture's website is also another tool that the media and other stakeholders can use to get the most updated information on farming-related matters. The website is to be updated and a dedicated IT person appointed to manage it. The website of the Central Projects Coordinating Unit, which is currently under construction, will be another source of information, particularly for the projects falling under the Gambia National Agricultural Investment Plan. We will all be duly notified of its launch date. Ladies and gentlemen, I have many friends in the media profession. I've got Senghor, Malik Jones, I've got Kamara, my list of friends. My interactions with various Gambian media practitioners has given me an insight from a customer's point of view, and I wish to share one or 2 points that may help improve your reporting. Remember, as members of the Fourth Estate, you are accountable to the general public and have a responsibility to report in a balanced manner that tells the truth with a touch of sensationalism to boost your sales. After all, you must make a living. These are my personal points that I think you may find useful. 1. Carefully proofread your stories. If necessary, enroll in short courses on writing and English. It is so simple. You can check a story simply by going online. Within 5 minutes, you can know whether the person is telling you something that has any substance on it. And thirdly, and this is a difficult one, do not personalize issues. Issues that become personal ignore logic, the truth, and will cloud your judgment. If need be, stay away from stories that are too personal to you.
Jawara opined that he was not aware of the existence of such network ready to complement the government's effort in promoting agriculture, but also commit to continue working with the network of agricultural communicators for the interests of the Gambia.